time. Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Highly Taken Podcast. A man down at this point, just the David Taken Podcast with your special guest, Christian and or Nick at the time. But back at you again from Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah, Christian back at you from Maryland. It looks like it's just how it's going to be for a little bit, bud. Schedules are hard right now. Unless you generous fans will start liking and commenting and, sending out our videos. We quit our day jobs.
Oh, dude, can you imagine? Like, yeah, I do a sports podcast twice a week. That's my job. But all right, we had games played last week. We had one big game played this past weekend. But first, we'll go with our Dubs and Chugs results. As you know, Christian was not here for Dubs and Chugs results and had to have a coin flip. So with that, in first place was me. I went 7-2 this week. 7-2, pretty solid. In last place at a cool 4-4. And you may wonder, 4-4, that's 8. How do they only do 8 games? Well, because Nick is an idiot, and even though he's the one who gives us the games, did not choose his winner for the Mavs and Thunders game. And he also switched last second from the Flyers to the Kraken. In second place, Christian, 6-3. You went 6-3. And
yeah, baby.
You know what? We had a tiebreaker. The tiebreaker was Taylor Swift on TV. How many times did she show up? I will say the answer was pretty close to one of ours. She showed 12 times. I guessed 13 times Taylor Swift had been showed. Nick guessed 17, and Christian's auto-generated number said 48. A little off there. I'm glad we didn't see 48 times of Taylor Swift. An average of 53 seconds the entire time we saw Taylor Swift.
Not bad.
We can go to our Super Bowl predictions from the three of us before we talk about it. All three of us said the Chiefs were going to win. That was consistent. I said it 27-17. Nick said 30-24. And you can believe that the number generator said 2019 for Christian. And although I thought that would be the dumbest thing, because of that block kick, there was a part of me when it was 13-6 who was like, oh my goodness, we're going to get a 20-19 Chiefs Super Bowl. It didn't happen, but I mean, that was wild for me. I really thought at some point that we should just be using a number generator to start betting. Christian went 6-3 using a number generator this week.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's pretty crazy.
It's arguably that the number generator may be better than you. The coin flipper may be better than you at picking games.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. I don't really think it's much of an argument.
I mean, I will say the first one we did for the college football one was pretty wild. I would be more interested to see if Nick would have told you the games anyway, and you'd have picked, and then we would have done a coin flip. I'm interested to see which one would have done better there, because it's hard to beat 6-3.
It is, even though you went 7-2.
Yeah, it was my two that I got wrong was like, what was the two I got wrong? Because I got all the did I get all the college ones? No, I got one college one wrong. I picked Illinois over Michigan State, and Michigan State was a 4-point favorite. And then I picked the Devils over the Hurricanes, and the Devils were an underdog, but they end up losing in overtime, so that's commendable for them. And I think I'm frozen. Oh, no. Not responding. This is not good. How is it just not responding out of nowhere? How does it do this mid-podcast? Makes technical difficulties there. Anyway, well, we had the big game played yesterday, and it was a great game. So, Christian, tell me your thoughts on the Super Bowl that was played yesterday.
Yeah, oh, man. You call it a great game. My personal opinion, I thought it was kind of a trash game. I feel like the fact that it went into OT is kind of covering up the fact that it was a trash game. My personal opinion, but I mean, look, I think at the end of the day, you were an idiot if you betted against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in this game. I mean, it's just, I hate to make the comparison because nobody is Tom Brady, but he's on the trail of being the next Tom Brady, right? That's the guy you don't bet against, and when it comes down to the big game, you want one player to throw in the ball. And I mean, right now that is Patrick Mahomes. You can't deny it. Brady's gone. He's the next best thing almost ever at this point. It's arguably he's the next best thing ever. I mean, and it's interesting to see what they're going to do. They just went back to back. And I mean, did it with probably the worst offense that he's had around him in his career. And that right there is the scariest part of it all. Knowing that there's no help there. besides Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce for the whole first half was invisible. Had one catch for 1 yard. That was it. Yeah, on a bubble screen. Which, by the way, man, oh my gosh, I want to jump out of my chair on that first drive when I saw 2 bubble screens back to back on that. I was like, no way. Is Brian Johnson there? I was, cool, man. But yeah, dude. I mean, and look, the Niners, they had their shot. You went up by 10. But I feel like, the CMC fumble, that's huge. Like, that's one that you can't drop right there and put on the ground. When Pacheco fumbled, the Chiefs, I believe they had 4 fumbles at one point while the Niners still had the lead. And it's just like 4 turnovers, man. Like, you have to capitalize on those. You have to capitalize on those. You have to capitalize when the ball's on the ground. Even if the other team recovers, like, you got to try and get that ball back quicker, bro. You got to capitalize on all of it. I feel like they had a bunch of opportunities. And the thing is if you had to put the Chiefs away early, because if you're going to let them play in a long game, they're going to find ways to come back. Shout out to, I believe it's Spagnuolo, 4 championships now as a offensive or defensive coordinator. Defense came up big, though, a lot last night in the third downs. I know on 3rd and 4 for what was basically the game at the 2-minute warning. Great blitz adjustment that they sent. I thought it was a great call from him. Hey, you got to risk it, see what you got to do. And look, Chiefs are champions. Niners, they had their chance. I don't know if they're going to find a way to come back next year. They have most of their pieces again. I think the Niners are going to be a good team for the next 2-3 years. But we're going to see what happens. But for right now, KC, yeah, they fought and they won. It wasn't a rigged game. It wasn't no bad reffing. I think it was a good game. KC went all the way.
Yeah, and that's the big thing is, like you were saying, it's Patrick Mahomes. If you look at the stats, 7 seasons, he's on a better pace than Tom Brady was in his first 7 seasons. Which, granted, Tom Brady didn't really get the start for that much longer. Actually, it's kind of the same amount because was Brady a rookie when they won?
Patty sat first year.
Yeah, Brady sat his first year too, though. He's behind Bledsoe before he got hurt.
And then he came in.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so. It's crazy. Game-winning touchdown drive. He threw for 333 yards, 2 touchdowns, and ran for 66 yards, which I felt like was a sneaky 66 yards on the ground. I feel like he wasn't running that much, but 9 carries, 66 yards. He is the 3rd quarterback to lead his team in rushing and passing yards, the other 2 being Steve Young and then Jalen Hurts last year, which is crazy to think about. At least Steve Young and Mahomes won those games. Kelce, we talk about it, 9 receptions, 93 yards, including like 2 or 3 really big ones on that game-tying drive at the end of the 4th quarter. But you got to feel bad for the Chiefs. Christian McCaffrey, although he did fumble, he had a really good game.
Niners.
Huh?
You said you got to feel bad for the Chiefs. You meant you got to feel bad
for the Niners. Good. Yeah, McCaffrey, 80 yards receiving and a touchdown, 80 yards rushing, and then that fumble, if they never get back to this point again, that's something you think about your entire career, like, what if, because they were driving on the first drive of the game before he fumbled there.
Yeah.
You got to think, I feel kind of bad for, was it Juan Jennings? He had a touchdown pass and a TD catch. He's the 2nd person ever to have a touchdown pass and catch in the Super Bowl behind, obviously, Nick Foles. The defenses both had 2 takeaways. The defensive lines on both sides looked tremendous. They did really good. The Chiefs had 1 sack, but 11 QB hits. The Niners had 3 sacks and 7 QB hits. But to be a Super Bowl champion, you need to play good on all 3 sides of the ball. And what it came down to yesterday was a blocked PAT and a muffed punt. And that's the game. Right there, those are the 2 biggest plays of the game. You can't end, like you said, you nail on the head, capitalization. The Chiefs had 2 turnovers, 0 points off of those turnovers for the Niners, while the Chiefs got, I believe, 10 points off of the turnovers that the Niners had. So you got to give what they get you. And if you don't do anything with it, then you're screwing yourself, especially against a great Chiefs team. Like you said, you need to knock out early.
Yeah.
I'm happy for Andy Reid. 3 Super Bowls in 4 years is amazing. They had that championship DNA. Give credit where credit is due. We look at this team in the entire year. We were saying, oh, this team's awful. Like, they can't score. This team's awful. They can't score. Like, how are they going to go up against these teams? But what this team did is they switched their identity. What most teams can't do is switch their identity. They went from they still have the best offensive-minded coach of all time. They said, you know what? Our offense isn't going to be able to do it. How about we throw in the defense? They let 16 points per game in the playoffs. They played against the second, the third, the fourth, and the sixth best points per game teams in the entire NFL throughout the playoffs and held them to an average of 16 points. Highest one being the 24 points they let to the Bills. That's absolutely insane. They find ways to win the championship game day. You can't count them out. And, dude, I think, not to be Nostradamus over here, they're going to be back. I mean, there's so much wide receiver talent out in the free agent markets here right now. I would be blown away if they did not get one of those.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy between what's coming in the draft and what is going to be available in the market. I mean, there's players on players on players KC can sign that's going to instantly make that wide receiver room better, and that is terrifying. I mean, again, you just won the Super Bowl with their best offense or the worst offense that they've had under Patrick Mahomes being there. Now, I do know that Chris Jones is not under contract and L'Jarius Sneed is not under contract. Those are two very, very big teams for the Chiefs that need to return. L'Jarius Sneed, I think I feel like you can probably get Chris Jones a little bit cheaper, but L'Jarius Sneed, I feel like that's a guy who, I mean, this is a guy it's his big contract year. You know what I mean? Like, this was year 4. It's time for him to really get paid. Chiefs are going to have to put a lot of money out there, but I feel like the other good news is a lot of players are going to want to play there to win because that's what they're doing right now. You just went back to back. I mean, again, you're going back to back with the team that they had, and it's like, okay, well, I'm a good player. I can totally go there and win. If your goal at that point is just to win, go there and take a cheaper contract. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, as a wide receiver 2 option, Odell lands there trying to find himself a ring as a cheaper player. T. Higgins, I mean, that would be crazy.
Big one. Mike Evans is still there.
I like Mike Evans. I think Mike Evans is probably the guy that goes there. I think he decided he got to play with Brady, and he's like, you know what? I want to go play with Patrick. I think that would be a big one. So, yeah, I mean, with all the talent that's going to be out there, it really is scary, and we're starting to be able to see, like, okay, this guy is by far the best quarterback that's playing right now until someone can knock him off. Even though he's not necessarily being the better quarterback in the game, they're winning. They're finding ways to win. And when it comes down to the final drive, if the ball's in his hands, you might as well call it a loss because he's going to find a way to take his team down there. Even if he went 9 of 32 for 17 yards the whole day, he's going to find a way to take his team down there on that final drive.
Yeah, I mean, this is truly, I would say, the first Super Bowl where Patrick Mahomes was the guy. Truthfully, I feel like the past several Super Bowls, he hasn't been the guy. He's been good enough to win, but he hasn't been the guy. But you throw for 333 yards in the Super Bowl with a game-winning drive. I mean, granted, they only had 1 touchdown in all of regulation and still ended up winning that game. Yep. So, was that really...
How about the longest field goal record being broken twice in one game? Now, isn't that something? A 55er. Shout out Jake Moody for holding the record for all of a quarter and a half. A 55er from him, and then a 57 from Bucker.
What's crazy to me? Yeah, it was crazy to me. He should have won MVP. You put 12 points on the board, and you don't get MVP. That's crazy. It's stupid that special teams isn't considered. But I mean,
and now you got the record for the longest Super Bowl, or you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's crazy. You mean you play 58 Super Bowls, and you're telling me that record wasn't past 54 yards once? That seems insane to me that there wasn't one.
That does, because Vinatieri, I feel like, was kicking like balls back in the day, bro.
Maybe they were just scoring so much for them. But yeah, you brought up the Niners. Niners fan, here's why you're going to get the taste of the medicine you guys gave us when we lost last year. You're going to have to take this one on the chin. We've been there. Have a seat. It's okay. You can only hope that you don't go 10-1 next year, then fizzle out at the end of the season. A 10-point Super Bowl lead is never safe against Mahomes, especially when you have Kyle Shanahan as your head coach. I mean, I know, wasn't no 28-3, but still, I feel like he may lead off the gas. I feel like they started passing the ball a lot more when their run game was working pretty good. I also feel really bad. No one's really talked about that much. Would be Trey Greenlaw getting hurt. A freak accident, dude. All he did was hop up into the field, and then he tore his Achilles. That was one of the most devastating things that I ever had to sit there and watch, was a dude just getting hyped to get back onto the field and blowing his Achilles. You got to feel sick, because if you win that game, it's fine. But if you lose that game, especially with Greenlaw being arguably a top 10 linebacker.
Yeah.
That's
What ifs. Yep.
yeah.
Nah,
And
yeah. That was a tough blow. That was big. I mean, you figure again, yeah. I mean, it happened towards the end of the game, and that's when Travis Kelce started really popping out, going big, and that's why I said I was watching the game with my friends. So I said to him, I said, dude, like that's huge. That is huge because the linebacker play in San Francisco is, I mean, it's stellar. It's by far the best linebacker play in the league. Between Greenlaw and Fred Warner, that's the best tandem by far.
We said that coming into the year.
That's and that's just so killer, man. When you lose that, like it sucks a lot out of your defense when that's two people that are almost like the identity of that defense. Outside of like Joey Bosa, or Nick Bosa, outside of like Nick Bosa, you know what I mean? It's just that's a tough, crucial blow. And then two, I mean, Debo wasn't even playing at 100% either. He was getting constantly throughout that game. However, he's a little bitch, so I mean, it happens.
Yeah, take that. And also, I mean, my ex-high school teammate was the one primarily guarding Kittle, my buddy Shamari Connor.
He was guarding Kittle.
He was on Kittle.
Dude,
he's the safety on Kittle.
Kittle did nothing.
2 receptions for 4 yards, dude.
But that was insane. It was a good first down catch that he had. It was an important first down catch.
That only one he had the entire game was that catch right there. But I guess we need to shine the spotlight. Not a lot of people are talking about it. Brock Purdy, 255 yards and a touchdown. Looking at the actual game being played, what were your thoughts on Brock Purdy yesterday?
Look, man, here's what I gotta say with Purdy, man, is he was doing his job. That's what I can say about Brock Purdy. He was, and I don't want to, because I guess you would say that about a game manager. I don't want to call him a game manager anymore because he's not a game manager, but he's not a game changer. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I don't know what the word is for that, but he was doing his job. He was doing what he had to do. He was making the passes when he needed to make the passes. He was running when he had to run. If there was open field, he took it. He knew what, like he wasn't making stupid decisions. But he was doing more than just managing the game, right? He was doing more than what we saw Jimmy Garoppolo, I guess you could say, be doing when he was there in San Francisco. But it's just, again, it's so hard to decide what it is with him because this was the biggest stage you can play on. This was everything. And in a contract year for him, you have a team with a bunch of stars. I get that. But you got to step up too. You know what I mean? You have to show something. And nothing popped out crazy to me. It was like, oh my God, like this guy's a top 5. But he's better than most. I will say that. He's better than most. He can play his game. He plays his game. You know what I mean? And he plays very well inside of Shanahan. Just my question is though, is it time to get rid of Shanahan in San Francisco because they cannot get over the hump? It seems like whatsoever with him there.
And it would baffle me if they did. He's been to 3 Super Bowls, 2 as a head coach, 1 as the OC, has lost all of them, has blown a double-digit lead in all 3 of them. So it's really hard to say to get rid of him considering how well his system does end up working. But to bring your point about Brock Purdy, it's hard not to call him game manager because he really does a lot more than a game manager would do. But he definitely is I feel like a system quarterback would be what's really a good word to use for him there. It's just, you say he did better than Garoppolo. Garoppolo, when he was in the Super Bowl, had 220 yards and a touchdown. So it's not like he did an insanely amount better than Garoppolo did when they played. And this is, without Garoppolo having a Christian McCaffrey. I believe their backfield then was like Raheem Mostert.
Yeah, but they had a nasty backfield.
Yeah. They had the speed backfield. They had like Wilson. Mostert,
it was Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, and one more guy. Yeah, they were quick.
They had that scat back stuff out there. But like I just knew the stars weren't there for them. And really weren't there for them. Debo wasn't the only person who was there for them was McCaffrey the entire time. That was their offensive fella. You have 160 yards of total offense with just that guy. I mean, your wide receiver had the same amount of touchdown passes as your quarterback in the game. So, I mean, it's tough. And like I said earlier, they could not capitalize. And the biggest part about me, and this is going to sound hypocritical, they should have gone for it on 4th down in overtime. I know I said the exact opposite thing against the Lions. Now, the difference there is you are up 14 at that point, and you could have gone up 17. But being tied against the Chiefs in overtime, with the way Patrick Mahomes and that team has been driving down the field the last couple drives before that, I just feel like it would be safer to try to go for it, kick a field goal, make it to where they have to drive like 90 yards down the field to kick a field goal as opposed to like going for the touchdown. I don't know. It's
Nah,
a big what if, and I feel hypocritical because of what I said about the Lions 2 weeks ago. I just
yeah.
feel like in that moment, you should be going for it, especially with Mahomes waiting for you on the other side.
Yeah, I totally agree with you there, man. And I believe they still even had the opportunity to get a first down at like the 2 yard line, and they had themselves set up in a 3rd and 4. I feel like, to me, again, yeah, you have McCaffrey, who was basically doing whatever he wanted. You know, when they were running the ball, McCaffrey was doing whatever.
Like 4 yards to carry.
4 or 5 yards to carry every time. I feel like, yeah, in that situation, you have to know that. Like, you have to know who's on the other side of that field. You have to know who's getting the ball. Like, we're talking about a guy, 6 straight AFC championships. We're talking about a guy who's now won 3 Super Bowls in the past 4 years. Like, before this it was 2 in the past 3. Like, you have to know these things. You know what I mean? Like, you have to and I don't know. It blew my mind that they didn't go for it. I thought for sure they were going to go for it, because the worst that happens, as long as you don't go backwards or throw a pick, is Casey starts at like the 3 yard line. And now you force them. I mean, yeah, granted, if they get in the field goal range, that's it. You know, that's all they need. But they still have to go 60, 70 yards for that.
And they're pinned back. And the playbook's a little bit, less condensed when you're pinned back. You have a chance for a safety to win the game at that point.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that was just bad coaching there, bad game management. You have to know. And I feel like if you don't know, now everybody should know. If Patrick Mahomes is on the other side of that field and you have the chance to go for a field or a touchdown, you opt for a field goal, you're gonna probably lose.
Yep. And I think, talking about not knowing stuff, how about the ridiculousness of the Niners team coming out and be like, oh, we didn't know the overtime rules. We didn't know that about the overtime rules. And one, they were sitting in the midfield and the referee announced over the loudspeaker, these are the rules. But also, Andy Reid had the team sit down every single week and to go over the rules of overtime. Every single week. And that's the difference between those two coaches right there. Preparedness. Andy Reid was ready. Shanahan wasn't. So when they won the coin toss, they decided to accept the turn. They wanted to receive the ball. And I was baffled because I was like, wait a minute, why would you want to receive? Like, I would want to know what the other team does first, because then you can decide to go for it or not. That's just awful. And the biggest stage, that is just such a big oversight. And to admit it.
Yeah, I mean, that one blew my mind too. First things first, as an NFL player, like, how do you just not know the rules of that? And even if they're sitting here and they're saying, oh, well, we thought it was, regular OT rules, Okay. So even if you thought it was the old OT rules, the game doesn't end if you score a field goal.
Yeah.
It's still, the other team still gets the ball. So at that point, what are you talking about then? Because you still gave up the touchdown. So even if it was regular rules, you still lost. It has no difference. And again, even if, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't know why. I feel like that's just a horrible excuse that they're coming out with, but whatever, each their own, bro. But that's just sad. You're in the NFL.
Could happen to a better fan base, to a better team after all the trash they were talking after last year.
Agreed.
They won't get to use their excuse that they have a third string quarterback though for losing the Super Bowl, I guess.
No, but they'll probably be like, he's Mr. Irrelevant, bro.
It's only Mr. Irrelevant when it fits them.
It's only Mr. Irrelevant when it's relevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I will say, the Niners, I think they'll be back. They have a really good team around them. When I'm looking at the people they have not under contract this upcoming year, their biggest free agents right now are Chase Young, Clelin Ferrell, Javon Kinlaw, Tashawn Gibson, and Logan Ryan.
So the whole defense. A
lot of decent defensive guys, but not like your big guys. Not like Hargrave, not like Bosa and Fred Warner, Greenlaw. Those guys are still under contract. But you have a couple linemen and then a couple, linebackers and safeties there. So it's really interesting. They have the offensive talent to get it done, but the defense is what showed up yesterday. The offense really didn't. And again, a testament to that Chiefs defense. We talk about Brock Purdy, I guess. It'll be interesting to see what happens next year. Are they going to extend his contract? He fits the system. I feel like it'd be stupid not to. But it really depends if Kyle Shanahan's there next year or not.
Yeah, I think San Fran has decided, okay, we're gonna lock in with Purdy, and I think he's gonna get extended. Now, however, the biggest problem I see here is you know what, I guess in San Fran it's not gonna matter as much, but they're gonna overpay for a guy that you know what I mean. Like, they're gonna give him probably a $50 million contract
They're gonna have to.
for a system quarterback. Yeah,
Yeah.
for a system guy. And that's the part that kind of sucks that we're getting to. That might become an issue here sooner or later in the NFL is we're paying quarterbacks a lot of money for guys that aren't really doing their job. You know, I can't sit here and say, well, what, put Purdy in a different system is going to look like garbage. I don't know that for sure, but yeah, he thrives in Shanahan's system. That's great. We call that a system quarterback. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we call that. You don't pay a system quarterback $50 million. You don't pay him top 5 quarterback money because he's not a top 5 quarterback realistically. He plays great in your system. You know what I mean? So it's gonna get hard. You know what I mean? They're gonna give Brock $50 million a year, and the QB market once again, it's just gonna change. It's just gonna change immensely.
He's gonna have to. You have a guy who's been to an NFC Championship and a Super Bowl in his first 2 seasons as a starting quarterback. So
Yeah,
it's really. I mean, I guess season half, but still, it's really hard not to sit there and say that. But yeah, I don't have much to talk about the Super Bowl, so I guess I'm gonna go straight into who do you have as your certified baller this week?
it's gotta be Pat, right? I mean, it kind of has to be Pat. He just won Super Bowl MVP. But you know what? Because it's so obvious that it's Pat, and he already won an MVP trophy this year. Being the Super Bowl MVP and all, I'm gonna go with the Black Horse underdog. I'm gonna go Juwan Jennings, man. Way to play an amazing game when your number was called every time. They call him third and Juwan, and I feel like that showed again in the Super Bowl. Every crucial third down felt like the ball was going to him. The ball was always in his hands, and that's a guy that they count out a lot. A lot of teams count out a lot because you have so much like offensive firepower on the Niners. With Kittle and Ayuk and Debo, that's your wideout number 3. But yet your wideout number 3 is out here burning guys because nobody's paying attention to him. And his number was called on a lot. Had the backwards pass back to McCaffrey for the touchdown. I don't know. Did he catch a touchdown?
Yeah, he caught a touchdown.
Yeah, caught a touchdown as well. Had a great game every third down. Was right there. So that's going to be my dark horse certified baller of the week. But Patrick Mahomes, obviously, that's number 1.
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I think Mahomes is the obvious answer, but I am going to give it to the best fan base ever, and that's the Swifties. The Swifties are going to be my certified baller. They only had to wait 5 months for their favorite team to win a Super Bowl, and the Browns are still waiting. That's all you can say. Imagine you being a poor Browns fan, a poor Buffalo Bills fan, and you had to wait your entire life for a Super Bowl when Taylor Swift got one in 5 months. Absolutely wild. Congratulations, guys. I hope you are all celebrating to the Swifties. Do you have any deflated ballers this week?
Deflated ballers. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, probably just Debo. Honestly, I'll just go Debo. All the trash that was talked, and then you guys are in the big stage, and I mean,
3 catches for 33 yards.
What was this?
3
total?
catches, 33 yards.
And how many rush yards? Because I know we had a couple rushes
8.
in there.
3 attempts, 8 yards.
Oh, okay. So the guy touched the ball 6 total times, and he had a total of 41 yards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's you're totally the deflated baller for sure. You can't talk all that and have a game like that and then cry wolf and say, "Oh, I'm hurt. Come on, man. What are you doing? Fletcher Cox called him out, bro. You see that?
Yeah, I love that.
Called him eat a dick. That's funny.
Fletch said, "I have something that you don't." Just saying.
Facts.
Deflated baller for me, I'm going with the Niners special teams. That's really what cost you the game there. And even going into the Super Bowl, Tony Romo touched so many times on how the Chiefs had the advantage in special teams, and it showed. That was the difference maker. You get your kick blocked, and then you muff a punt. Those are the 2 biggest plays because those both ended up coming. We end up kicking a field goal for one of them, and then the muff punt came into a touchdown the exact next play. So this has to be special teams. Don't know who the special teams coach is over for the Niners, but hey, again, you have to play all 3 sides of the ball, and that's why you play it.
And so, who's your early pick for the 2024-2025 Super Bowl?
All right. So tough. I'm going to go Chiefs-Packers. I like Chiefs-Packers.
Who wins?
I think the Chiefs will win again.
Chiefs for the first ever three-peat in
Repeat, yeah.
NFL history. Dude, that's the crazy part, dude. If the Chiefs were to three-peat, like, it almost gets to a point, bro, where it's like, dude, when are they not going to win?
I mean, right now I feel like when they're not going to win. I mean, they're really Brady is the only thing that's stopping them from being a 4 out of 5 time champ, which is ridiculous to think about. Like the Chiefs have 3 Super Bowls, and not a lot of people have two. So
We have one.
one,
You know what
yeah,
I mean?
we have one in
Yeah.
4 shots.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I feel like, someone will figure out Mahomes and their game plan every here and there once in a while, and they'll lose a couple, but
Yeah,
it's
maybe
going to
during the
be.
regular season, but when it comes to playoff time, they're
Yeah.
playing in
Yeah.
Arrowhead.
Well, that's what I was about to say, too. I feel like from now on with the Chiefs, man, like if you get lucky enough to not have them play at Arrowhead like this year, like how Buffalo was able to get
and
them,
the
Buffalo,
Ravens.
yeah, and you're right. You have to. Oh yeah, I don't watch Baltimore. Yeah, like you have to knock them out, bro. You have to get the win there. Like if you don't, you're screwing
Buffalo
yourself
did too,
because
though. They played in
oh
Buffalo
yeah,
because they had the two
yeah,
seed.
you're right. Okay, I wasn't crazy. So yeah, like dude, you have to get those wins, man. Like if you send him back to his home stadium or you send him to the big game, it's over with.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just crazy. It really is crazy. It makes me wonder. I kind of wish that Andy Reid was as young as Bill Belichick when Bill Belichick got Tom Brady, because if it wasn't for how old Andy Reid was, we're looking at a dynasty that I feel like could honestly win 7 of 10 Super Bowls if they played in 10 years together. That's how great Patrick Mahomes is. That's how great of an offensive mind Andy Reid was.
How old is Andy?
And he's like 67, maybe.
Oh, dude. Andy's gonna be as long as he don't have any medical issues. I guarantee you, Andy's out there for another 10 years, dude.
Dude, the oldest coach this past year was Pete Carroll, who's like
Pete
71,
Carroll.
73. So
70, yeah, he's like 72, 73. Yep. All right,
um,
well maybe at least another 5.
I mean, I'm happy for him. Like I said, I was going for the Chiefs solely because of Andy Reid. You go to 4 or 5, NFC championships that he went to with the Eagles, and you never get a chance to win. You finally get a chance to win with this Chiefs team. I mean, he's just been an incredible coach. He's 4 wins away from tying for the most in postseason history, which means you can get that next year if they're a wild card or not a 1 seed, and that's a possibility. But I mean, I feel like if he coaches another 2 or 3 years, I feel like he'll easily get that. Um, but
Yeah.
what do you have as your hot take of the week?
Oh jeez, I don't even know, dude. 'Cause the only hot taste you can really have right now, I feel like it's basketball.
Basketball, baseball free agency.
Trevor Bauer gets signed by someone this week.
I was going around the same line there. I think that Blake Snell is going to sign with the Giants by the end of the week. What's funny, the Phillies were the betting favorite for Snell after the season ended because they assumed that Nola would not re-sign, and he re-signed with him. So
Yeah, that is kind of funny. I don't know if I really, absolutely love that. Love Nola, great Philly, but
a lot of
I
money.
don't know I don't know if I really love that. A lot of money for a guy that's getting older. But hey, maybe let's just hope it plays out. Well, if you're the Phillies, you gotta acquire another pitcher. And Trevor Bauer even said he'll play on a vet minimum. Like,
Did you see Papelbon said he would pay his Jonathan
no, what?
Papelbon said that he would pay the league minimum for Bauer if a team would go and sign him. He would pay his
Dude,
minimum.
Like, I don't understand why a team hasn't. Like, the second everything was cleared up from his name, it should have that should have been everything. And in my opinion, dude, like, you have a guy who's sitting here that was a Cy Young, candidate. And was he a winner? Did he win a Cy Young?
He won with the Reds.
Cy Young, right? It's the guy who was a Cy Young winner, and it's not like he's been inactive. He's been pitching overseas. Like, why would you saying he's going to play on a league minimum? Why would you not add that on? And everyone's saying, oh, the fan base, like, oh, they wouldn't let this, that. Dude, these fans are going to come to the damn game every single time. You might lose $200 on the year. You might, and I know that's a tough pill to swallow. There, a whole $200, but you're not going to lose money like that with this kind of guy.
You're telling me that the Houston Astro fans or the Texas Rangers fans in the Deep South are going to be upset if you sign Trevor Bauer? I'm just, dude, I mean, him on either one of those pitching rotations would be filthy. Those are already 2 really good pitching rotations. But yeah, I hope it's really dirty. It's just it's unfortunate what the court of public opinion does to a person's career nowadays. Like
Yeah,
if you're innocent, you are proven innocent. If they said, "Nah, we think you may have done this," even if you're proven innocent, they don't care.
it's
And
done.
it's
Yeah,
honestly a shame. You can just an accusation from nowadays can ruin your career for no reason. Um,
yeah,
but I guess we can get into some. I almost said WNBA. No, we can get into some NBA before we end here. Start with the Bucks. You know, the Bucks are now 2-5 since hiring Doc. They've won their last game. The last game they won was a garbage game against the Hornets. Should the Bucks start panicking already?
yeah. I think you 100% should, and I'll tell you right now, I don't know. I don't know what Milwaukee was thinking. I don't. Looking at it, I'm sure. Like I'm trying to piece it together still. You know, if you're gonna sit here and tell me, oh, he just wasn't, a good fit for the culture. Well, now I'm looking at it and saying, okay, well, maybe you have the wrong culture. Maybe you need to change something inside of that building. Because if you're telling me Doc Rivers fits this culture, and you have a team that has Chris Middleton, Giannis, Dame Lillard, Lopez, like you have all these guys, and you're now telling me you just made a coaching change after being the second team in the East, and you're now 2-5. And again, yeah, your last win was against a bottom feeder Hornets team. Like, of course you should win. Like that's how that should be.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Yeah, if I was a Bucks fan, I'd be in panic mode. I really would because you're falling and you're falling fast. Like it's simple as that. You can't have 2 wins to every 5 losses. You can't, dude. Yeah. With the Cavs are a good team. The Knicks just vamped up everything. Celtics are a good team. The Sixers are trying to stay afloat. Like there's a bunch of teams that are good in the East that you don't want to fall behind because you're not going to be able to make that ground up come sooner or later. I just think that that's probably going to go down as the demise of their season. I really do because why do it? Why do it? And not even why do it, but why hire Doc Rivers?
Yeah, a proven person that is known. The teams that he's only had one time where he's won a chip, and that's because he had the greatest team at the time. You know, you look at the teams that he had since then. The underperforming of the Clippers, the underperforming of the Sixers, and you wonder how this guy keeps getting jobs again and again and again. His method has only proven to work one time with a great team. Other than that, he's never had a bad team. He has really never had a bad team, but for some reason, he keeps getting hired.
Yeah, he's always on very good teams, and then they always underperform. But yet, he's got a job every time, somewhere, one way or another. It's crazy, man. It's not, and now he's the All-Star coach. Like, look at that. Like, it makes no sense to me, dude. And I feel like, yeah, if I'm a Bucks fan, I'm in panic mode, dude. I really am. I mean, I would love to hear if I knew a Bucks fan, I'd love to hear their opinion on why it shouldn't be in panic mode. But I feel like that's a real hard debate. Like,
Yeah.
you just have too good of a team.
Yeah, it's not like you're in a situation where you just got a new player and you have to learn how to mesh with a new player. You got a coach and you're just playing basketball. So I don't know. You mentioned the Cavs, and right now the Cavs have won 9 straight. I think they've won the last 16 of their 17 games, something like that. It's insane how good they are. And even with they're still 5 game backs to the Celtics, even with that great stretch of play. But are the Cavs a real deal right now?
Yeah, man. I'll tell you this much, dude. If Donovan Mitchell keeps playing the way he's playing, I mean, it's going to be a hard team to stop, dude. Donovan Mitchell is doing everything: 3-point shots, mid-range shots, layup, driving, assist, everything. He's doing it all across the board, offense and defense. And when you have a player like that, it gets real hard to stop. But then you have other pieces there. You have Darius Garland coming back, right? I'm trying to think who else the Cavs got. I know they have a couple of other pieces.
Yeah, they got Struss from the Heat.
Struss. That's a guy who's knocking down threes with him. Like they have pieces there that can be good. Like how do I explain this? That can work. You have pieces there that can work. You put them in the right system, and they can make it happen. Look what the Heat did last year. You put them in the right system, they made it happen. They had the players that could do what they needed to do. They all did their jobs, and that's what you could see with the Cavs this year, dude. If they get hot. Like they get rolling, they are right now. Like you said, like winners of 15 in the last 17 or whatever it is. That's crazy. But here they go. And I mean, you gotta look at the same thing though with the Knicks, because the Knicks are almost the same way. I mean, they're winners of I think 15 or something out of their last something too. They went on a huge streak.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to go back to what you said about the Cavs there. Just crazy how balanced they really are right now. Their last game they won by 24 against the Raptors. So usually when that happens, who went off? No one went off. They had zero people score 20 or more points that game, but they had eight people in double digit scoring that game. I mean, Max Struss, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Isaac Okoro, Karis LeVert, and even our boy George Niang went out and scored like 12, 14 points himself. And so it was like we said with the Sixers team when Embiid was there, they were playing a team style of ball, and it's working. When one guy doesn't have to take the entire load of a team, it really works out. You have zero guys score 20 points, but still win by 24 against a really good Raptors team.
Yeah, well, I mean, I wouldn't call them really good. They're definitely not. They're very young, have a lot of talent, but they're not very good. I'll tell you that much.
I think they are.
Well, they're not. But yeah, no, for sure. I totally agree with you there. This Cavs team, man, it's tough. It's a good team. I like what they're doing. It's crazy though, because I feel like Mitchell was just on the trade block like earlier this year.
They were definitely talking about him beyond the trade block, so it's very interesting.
Now, yeah, it's like, whoa, why the hell? Why would you trade Mitchell if you're a Cavs team that wants to win right now? You got a team that's going to win right now, and I can promise you take Mitchell off of that team, and you're not winning anything.
It is Mitchell's second or third team. I can't remember if Mitchell went
second
anywhere.
Team. He went. Second? He got Jazz.
He got from the Jazz.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was at the Jazz, and then who was he playing with on the Jazz? Was that Gobert?
Gobert, yeah. That's why. That's kind of why they split. It's because they didn't see eye to eye. Because Gobert started COVID.
Yeah, we should. We saved like 4 minutes right there.
Yeah. All right, so I guess I'm gonna go with the Sixers. What do you think about the moves they made during the trade deadline?
They had every opportunity to make it great, and they failed, in my opinion. You traded away basically your entire bench, and in total 1 first round for Buddy Hield, who is a good, it's a spot shooter, which this team desperately needed. But then campaign, and that's kind of where it got bad, because right now you're in a place where Embiid could be out to up to 2 months, and again, you have to stay afloat to playoff time, so that way you can have him back at full health and make the run that you're looking to make. And you didn't acquire a guy that's going to be able to come in and at least partially fill that role that you're missing with Embiid. You're not going to find another Embiid. It's not going to happen. You need to find a guy that can come in and at least fill the role in a little bit, give you 50% of what Embiid's going to give you. And they didn't get that. They don't have a guy on there that's going to help this team stay afloat. You're looking at Maxey. You're going to say, well, Maxey can't do that, do what he's done. We can see him do. He can't do it every night. He's not going to go out and drop 50 every night. He's not going to go out and drop 35 every night. It's not going to happen. If it's just him, it's just his team, yeah, he's a 20 to 25 point per game guy for sure. But it could be a sloppy 20 to 25 points per game. That could be him putting up 30 shots and making the 10 of them. You know what I mean? So I just feel like that's where they're going to screw themselves. They just got a win finally the other night against Washington. Hield went 4 of 9 from 3, which ironically it's funny because when we made that trade, David, you said, dude, that's like 4 of 9. That's like 4 of 9. I'll take it all game. And then he goes out first game and goes 4 of 9. So I like it, but I don't know if that's going to be enough. And again, like we said, you have the Knicks who are on fire. You have the Cavs who are on fire. Yeah, I mean, the Bucks are being coached by Doc Rivers, but you still have the Bucks, right? And then, of course, the Celtics. You have teams that are going to push for you. And then you don't want to see Miami when push comes to shove when with their company. You don't need that.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that's not a team that you want to see. There's a lot of teams, dude, that's like, okay, wow, if these guys catch fire, we're fucked. You know what I mean? You're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I like the Buddy Hield move. Very interested on the campaign move. I don't know where that came from. But, we added some more depth because apparently we're going to go out and sign Kyle Lowry.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to turn these Sixers into the Thixers. I'm agreeing. I don't think the bench is good enough for whenever Embiid comes back, maybe. But you see that big guy there. I mean, you have 2 guys right now who's playing overseas, and DeMarcus Cousins and Dwight Howard, who I would not mind just going out and going, hey, you want to sign a 10-day or something? You want to sign, a little bit of a contract so we can have some good bench depth? Patrick Reed isn't going to get it done. I like Patrick Reed. I think he's young. I just
Paul.
think he's not. I think he's raw. I don't think he's developed
No,
enough.
Paul Reed.
Yeah, that's what I said. I like Reed.
Patrick.
I say Patrick Reed. Who's
Yeah.
Patrick Reed?
I don't know. I have no clue. I don't know who Patrick Reed is, bro.
I feel like Patrick Reed was a stinking corner or something. Anyway, yeah, I like Reed. I know he's young, he's raw, but he's not going to be that Embiid guy. Just isn't built for that. And like you said, the other teams in the East are good. I mean, right now the Sixers are a 6 seed, but they're only like a game or two back of being a play-in team right now. So it's gonna be interesting. I tell you what's also interesting is, have you seen the Western race right now, the Western Conference race?
Yeah, you want to talk about a tight matchup, man? I mean, it's like what, a 1 or 2 point.
It's so right now
Or
the
is it tied?
Timberwolves, no, so the Timberwolves are in first place,
Yeah,
but
and you got the
then the
Thunder.
Clippers, Thunders, and Nuggets are all like half game back. They're
Yeah,
all tied for a half game back. Your 1 through 4 is a half game back. That's insane.
yeah, bro, that is insane. That's yeah, it's crazy, dude. There's a lot of good ball going on over there in the West. I just don't know, I don't know how long it stands for a couple of teams. We've seen so far that the Timberwolves are liable to fold. In a couple of games this year, they've blown double-digit leads. They've blown great games that they thought that they had shut out, and it didn't go that way. The Thunder, that's still a very young team, and even though SGA is an MVP candidate, that is still a very young team. So we're going to see how that comes down, during the playoff times when the inexperience hits there. Nuggets, I like the Nuggets. They have everything you need. They're the returning champs as of right now. I don't mind that. But then Clippers, that's the best thing. That's the best. That's the team that I can currently see right now probably playing the best in the West is the Clippers. But however, the biggest problem because they don't have a big, right? And like we said, in the game of 7, that's not going to look too great. But yeah, I mean, it's a tough race, dude. It's anyone's game over there in the West. Anyone's.
Yeah, actually, I had the question written out here. Who goes 1 through 4 there? Who do you think is gonna be 1 through 4 in the West? I mean, granted, you can't take back because the Pelicans and the Kings are both and the Suns are like 5.5, 6 games back as well of first. So they're not like they're too far away either. Surprised the Pelicans are doing that well. They're flying under the radar, no pun intended.
Yeah.
But who do you have going 1 through 4 in the West there?
I think I'm gonna go to Clippers with the 1 seed. I'm gonna go Nuggets with the 2 seed. I'm gonna go Thunder with the 3 seed. Who am I missing there?
Well, the T-Wolves, or you can have one of the other teams.
Yeah, I think I'll go T-Wolves at 4. I wanted to put the Thunder at 4, but I think I'll go T-Wolves at 4. Thunder finishing 5.
Yeah, I mean, so originally I had Nuggets 1, Clippers 2, T-Wolves 3, Thunder 4. Truthfully, I can see a world where the Thunder fly back and the Suns come in and steal that 4 seed. I mean, they're a good team too. Like I said, I'm really rooting out these teams that are 5 games back right now. But 5 games is not that much in the time span of an NBA season. And when you have a team like the Suns and the Pelicans and the Kings, all really good teams back there, anything could really happen. It's kind of crazy that they're all like 5 or 6 games back of first place right now. And, second place in the East is 5 games back of the Celtics.
Yeah.
Now, do you have anything else you wanted to bring up here? That's the last thing I had.
Oh, man, I don't think I do inside of any sports, bro. I mean, we're just waiting for MLB now, I feel like, man. We got basketball, we got hockey, but waiting for
10
the
days. 10 days, the first preseason games being played between the Dodgers and Padres. Ooh,
okay.
I sent you the picture. I guess I'll have to put it up here in post. With the new NFL Super Bowl logo being shown, who do you have in the Super Bowl? I know it's hard to, do you want me to tell you the colors? I don't know if you could tell what the colors were.
Well, I didn't see, so what are they?
It's like red and then a neon green yellowish color in the middle.
Oh, shoot, man. KC in Seattle, baby. I guess Gino was getting it done.
Oh no, that's where I said, because I also said, oh, it looks like KC in Seattle. Dark horse draft Michael Penix Jr. Rookie's gonna bring you up to the Super Bowl. That's my dark horse pick right there.
That's crazy because you know what though, bro. Yeah, I like Penix Jr. there, but I think JJ McCarthy would be filthy over there in Seattle. Just saying.
Dude, him and Drew Lock would be an interesting quarterback room.
Wouldn't it be? That's funny.
I like the fratty white boy.
Yeah, right. Literally. Yeah, no, that's
Then get Baker.
Yeah, that team would be. I would very much like to see that team if they put Baker Mayfield over there. ASN, Ty Lockett, DK, Fant. That's a good team.
Yeah, but I guess that's gonna do it. I have nothing else to talk about. Hopefully, it's we need to sit down and have a conversation about our schedules because I feel like I said earlier, the dad or the mom who gets like joint custody. I only get to see one kid in the weekend, one kid in the weekends. But I guess enjoy your week.
Yeah, enjoy your week, buddy. We'll all sit down and we'll discuss it.
To go against what Nick said last week, you don't do whatever you want this week.
Yeah,
What you will do is you will share this podcast and like it and make it to where Christian can quit his day job.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Christian is hit the lottery. That's all you gotta do.
I got a $4,000 NBA parlay going off for $1 tonight, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, it's gonna hit. Gotta believe in it.
You want to hear it real quick?
Oh yeah, you know what? Give us, an impromptu Goldie's locks, a little quickie here.
All right, hold on. I gotta log into FanDuel. I crafted a real stellar one. I think it's only like 12 legs. It's really not even that long. I be crafting up when I do NBA parlays. I be crafting up like 24 legs. All right, here we go. Right here, baby. Right here. Here's the lock of the world, of the century. Brandon Miller from the Hornets to score 25 plus, and Miles Bridges to hit 3+ threes. Donovan Mitchell to make 4+ threes. Tyrese Maxey to make 4+ threes. Trae Young to score 25 or more. DeJounte Murray to score 20 or more. Jalen Brunson to score 25 or more. Dante DiVincenzo to score 15 or more.
Ooh.
Yeah. Giannis Antetokounmpo to score 25 or more. Dame with 3+ threes made. Michael Porter Jr. with 2+ threes made. Lauri Markkanen with 15+ points. Curry with 20. Kawhi with 20. And Edwards with 20. Wemby with 20. Brandon Ingram with 25. And to cap it off, Tim Hardaway Jr. with 2+ threes.
That's so crazy. You just took a bunch of +1. You took a lot of overs on people's, I feel.
I did. Bro, that's what I was going, bro. You know what? I sat there and I said to myself the other night, I was betting on it was the Knicks and the Mavs game. And the Knicks were sitting like half of their players. Brunson was out. Everybody was just out. And I looked at my boy and I said, dude, I feel like tonight I want to just bet right here because I had a no sweat same game. And I was like, right here, I just want to bet crazy stats. Like, this guy's going to go for 30, and this guy's going to – he was like, nah, dude, just do this, da-da-da-da, that's not 30. I was like, all right. Bro, the amount of scoring and, stats that were in that game was insane. Luka dropped, 39. DiVincenzo dropped, 38. Kyrie sucked. Hardaway hit, 5 threes. Just the stat sheet was just popping with a bunch – and I looked at it, I'm like, man, all they had to do was call some of that, and I would have cashed. It happens.
Well, you'll get it this time. I feel it. I feel you need a win here. You need a slump buster here. $4,000. Go buy yourself. I don't know what you can get $4,000.
I don't know, but I would totally buy a PS5. I want to get a PS5.
There we go. $4,000. That's a PS5.
You're gonna get NCAA when it comes out.
I mean, when it comes out, yeah. I didn't see it. Was there a Super Bowl commercial for it? Because I didn't.
I don't know, but I know it's been officially announced that it's coming this summer. I
want to see a commercial, dude. Just give me a commercial. Get me hyped about it.
Yeah, I feel like I did see a commercial.
I'll just YouTube it when I get back. But this is Do you hear that? That's the sound of outro music. So that means we are actually in this time. What's funny is, the first time you heard the outro music, because I'm going to edit an outro music first, and we cut it because we started talking about the parlay. We're actually doing it right now. This is the outro. Go home if you're not already home. I know you're sitting on the toilet. Stop dropping a juice right now. Nick, I know you're watching at this point. We make fun of Christian, and we make fun of you, Nick.
Yeah,
you're trash.
Loser, yeah. That's why. You missed that free throw in high school. You loser. Way to not be 100%. Yeah,
you missed a free throw, you loser.
Yeah,
you free throw for a reason.
Worst. Yeah, literally a free throw and you still missed it. How do you get something for free and you still can't get it? That's crazy.
Yeah, and remember when he broke his wrist?
Yeah, what a crybaby, dude.
We all know what he was being a little baby. Nicky wants your binky.
Oh, Nicky wants your binky.
This is stupid. I'm in
all
this.
right, buddy. Sounds
Industry fulfilling their schemes. Highlight taking pockets, we taking over the scene. We drop dubs and chugs, living the sports dream. From hot takes to deep dive, it's a winning regime. Come join the hype. We not just blowing steam.